All right, today we're going to explore a philosophy that's, get this, over 2,500 years old, and yet it might just be the perfect antidote for our crazy modern world. Yep, in this explainer, we are diving deep into the timeless wisdom of Lao Tzu and the teachings of Taoism.
I mean, think about it. We live in a world that's constantly screaming at us to push harder, move faster, always be striving. So, how on earth can some ancient philosophy from 2,500 years ago actually offer a solution? Well, the answer starts with a legendary figure who, believe it or not, just decided to walk away from all that noise.
So let's start our story with the founder of Taoism himself, this really mysterious figure known as Lao Tzu. And look, his life is totally shrouded in legend, but the wisdom he left behind, man, it is as clear and profound as it gets. So the story goes that Lao Tzu was this really smart guy, a scholar, a record keeper in the court of the Zhou dynasty. But he got completely fed up. He saw all this corruption, this endless chase for power, and he just grew weary of it all. So he decides to leave, just walk away from public life. And as he's heading out into solitude, a border guard stops him. The guard knew this was a wise man and basically begged him, please write down your teachings before you disappear. And what he wrote, it was this short, just 5,000 character text packed with incredible insight, the Tao Te Ching. And that one single text, it became the absolute foundation of Taoism. But here's the thing, it's not some book of rigid rules, not at all. It's more like a collection of beautiful poetic verses, and they're all pointing toward one central, incredibly powerful idea, the Tao. Okay, so at the very heart of all this is the Tao. It literally translates to the way. And what is it? Well, the Tao is the natural order of the universe. It's this unseen, eternal principle that just flows through everything that exists. A great way to think about it is like the current of a giant river that's quietly guiding all of life along. All right, so if the Tao is this big, natural flow of the universe, the next logical question is, how are we supposed to live with that? And this right here is where the philosophy gets super practical. It introduces us to what you might call the art of effortless action. And that brings us to this absolutely crucial concept, Wu Wei. Now, it's often translated as effortless action or even non-action. But hold on, that doesn't mean being lazy or just doing nothing. Not at all. It's all about acting in perfect alignment with the natural flow of things. You know, like a smart boatman who skillfully navigates a river's current instead of trying to paddle like crazy against it. Just think about these two completely different ways to approach life. On one side, you've got all the forcing, the resistance, the constant striving. Does that sound familiar to anyone? I thought so. But on the other side, there's flowing, there's alignment, and there's just allowing things to unfold. Wu Wei is basically making the conscious choice to live in that second column instead of the first. Another huge teaching is just simplicity. Lao Tzu was convinced that our endless chase for more complexity, more status, more stuff, it only leads to confusion. But when we simplify our lives, our desires, our crazy schedules, our possessions, that's when we find a kind of clarity and peace that all that complexity could never, ever give us. And here's where we get to one of Taoism's really beautiful paradoxes. Lao Tzu taught that real strength isn't about being hard and rigid. Nope, it's found in gentleness. Just think about water, right? It's soft, it's yielding, but give it enough time and it will carve through the hardest rock. So from this perspective, humility and flexibility, they aren't weaknesses at all. They're actually the most powerful forms of strength you can have. This philosophy also has this really important call for us to remember our place in the world. The big idea here is that we aren't separate from nature and we're definitely not superior to it. We are a part of it, an integral part of its great cycle. So by just observing nature's rhythms, the seasons changing, the cycles of growth and decay, we can actually learn how to live in balance and find our own natural rhythm. And that brings us to an idea that is, frankly, pretty radical in our culture today: contentment. I mean, we live in a world that's always telling us we need more, more, more. But Lao Tzu gives us this incredible piece of wisdom. He who knows that enough is enough will always have enough. True wealth isn't about having everything. It's about realizing when you already have enough. Okay, so what does all of this ancient stuff mean for us, right here, right now? Let's bring it home and connect these principles directly to the challenges we're all facing every single day. So, what can we really learn from this ancient wisdom today? Well, first off, that flowing with life's current instead of constantly fighting it, that leads to way less stress and honestly, usually better results. Second, that simplifying our lives is one of the most direct paths to real joy. And third, that true, lasting strength, it's not found in aggression, it's found in gentleness and compassion. When you put it all together, Taoism really offers a practical guide for anyone out there who's just looking for a calmer, wiser, and more meaningful life.
So I'm going to leave you with a final thought, something to really chew on. Just take a look at your own life for a second, your job, your relationships, your personal goals, and ask yourself, what might happen? What could really change if you decided to practice just a little more Wu Wei? If you chose to flow instead of always trying to force things?